Welcome to Grid Live Saturday. Joe Samaniego here along with Adam Lemeries, Joshua Birch, and Kobe Lambeth from the podium finish. I want to thank everyone for tuning in, especially since it's the first weekend of the Olympics. But we're not here to discuss about the Olympics. We're here to talk about the one racing series continuing on this weekend in London, the site of the 2012 Olympic Games, and that's Formula E. The London E-Prix race one is done. And wow, was that an exciting race?
You're right, Joe. Definitely an exciting race in the Formula E. Wheel of Destiny skipped over Sam Bird, the points leader. Contact on lap one. Out of the race, joining Alexander Sims. Jake Dennis took the win for Andretti Autosport. It's their second win in the last three races. Max Gunther won on the streets of New York City in race one. And Jake Dennis joins Nick DeFries and Sam Bird as the three drivers who have won twice this year. And here's the first question. Can Andretti Autosport be a contender for more wins than the championship, or is it a little too late for them?
It's never, ever too late. And I think we've seen, considering Sam Bird came from 15th in the title back in New York to jump up to lead it. Today, we've seen Jake Dennis do exactly the same thing. The Constructors' Championship is so tightly packed. BMW came into this championship on 108 points. They're now right up there with Envision, Virgin Racing, and DS Techeetah. For sure, if they can keep their level heads, they've got Gunther, that admittedly he dropped back today as well, but Jake Dennis as well, which I think is a superstar in the making with BMW and Andretti. For sure, they can definitely be a contender for more wins in the remaining three races. And I'm hopeful, considering now he's second in the title, they might even get a win before they leave the series.
I have to agree with you, Josh. The Formula E season this year has been absolutely crazy and nutty. I was glad to see Jake Dennis win today in his home country. And do I think Jake Dennis has a shot and Andretti Autosport has a shot to win more races? Oh, yeah. And I believe the championship's going to go down to the final race in Berlin. We don't know who's going to win this year's championship. Nobody knows, I don't think. But overall, you have so many contenders that have a shot to win the Formula E championship. It's too hard to pick a winner right now. It's been crazy all year long. And regarding the track in London, it's one of the coolest tracks that I've ever seen. I saw a comment on social media saying it compared it to like a go-kart track. But overall, the race one from London, it was cool.
Yeah, you're definitely right about one thing, Adam. It's so hard to pick a winner in Formula E, and the parity in that series is absolutely off the chains. And Jake Dennis and Alex Lynn started on the front row. Both of them came out of Group 3 in qualifying, Group 1 in qualifying, the top 6 in points in Group 2, 6 through hook. Could we see tomorrow's winner come out of Group 2 or Group 3?
I think when it comes to tomorrow's race and the winner, I'm looking at Group 3, especially some of the drivers that you have there. And today, the winners came out of Group 3. Alex Lynn, of course, got the pole. Jake Dennis. Now, Jake Dennis, he's in Group 1. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens tomorrow. The one thing, though, that track is really getting a lot of rubber, especially the indoor section. So I'm really curious to see, could that change everything where Group 1 usually has that disadvantage? Now, would that disadvantage be a little less severe with this unique circuit?
Well, a couple of things as well. This morning's qualifying was wet. It officially came up as a wet track as well. So that hampered Group 1 and Group 2 as the rain sort of dithered whether it wanted to spill on the track or not. But in terms of the practice sessions, I've got the times here and I've highlighted them in the notes. Jean-Eric Verne in the first session on Friday in the dry, a 121.6. He was in Group 1. Tomorrow he'll be in Group 2. That stands an incredibly good chance of getting through. But here's my notes, as Joe said, here's my notes from the qualifying session this morning, which I handwrite. Everyone coming from Group 3 and Group 4 in terms of qualifying to the Super Pole and getting pole position. The disadvantage here at this track is with the grip on the inside, you're so fast through Sector 1. But as you get onto the back half of the track, you do start to get the offline. The damp is still there. It's going to be similar conditions tomorrow as well. So the rain could still play a factor. I think it's possible somebody from Group 2 would get in there. and maybe take pole position. The likes of De Vries, who was up there today, qualifying ninth on the grid for race one, Verline, Rast, people who in today's race we thought, oh, they're quick. I can't see Mortara getting through there. Da Costa had a great race, but he was fighting back. It's the only reason he was so quick. Bird, I think, who's the driver who will go in Group 1, already was involved in contact. So I think he's going to be eager to get out of Group 1 and into Superpole. So I think tomorrow's qualifying is going to be a lot closer, but I'd ideally see qualifying Group 2 and qualifying Group 3, the 6 drivers going through to Superpole.
And Jake Dennis, after his big win today, now second in points. Sam Bird still the points leader, 81, and Dennis only 2 behind with 79 in third place. Antonio Felix da Costa is really tied up there, as you can see right there. Da Costa, defending series champion, with 78 points. And right back at you, Josh. Can 2020's Mr. Consistency position himself for a late season championship run? I mean, look how close they are right there. It's just really insane to see how close the Formula E point standings are.
I've been waiting years and years to see a championship like this across all categories, and it's amazing it's coming in Formula E as a sort of a spec series, yes, but the powertrains are different to everybody else's as well. And as you can see, look at the points there. It's unbelievable. Da Costa 78, 1 point behind is De Vries, 2 points back Fries. Dennis a point ahead of him. Bird's got a little cushion there, hasn't he? But I called as well as you have last year. Antonio Felix da Costa was Mr. Consistent. He hasn't really been this year, has he? He had a podium in Diriyah, then dropped out a couple, but he's really picked up in the last 3 races to be consistent again for 2021. He's going to need a big miracle, and he's going to need better qualifying. So he dropped to 17th. He was very, very poor in the Group 1 today, but did fight back to start P8. He needs to get out of Group 1. He needs to get into Superpole. And I think he has a chance, but all eyes up front to the Brits. I'm sorry, I'm not being patriotic there. I think it's going to be between Bird and Dennis. They found something, and maybe even a challenge from Nick De Vries. Da Costa, to fight back his challenge, it's close, but with that, DS Cheetah hasn't really been reliable this year.
You brought up a lot of excellent points, Josh. I do agree with you. I think it's gonna come between the driver. It's gonna be between the drivers at the front, and the form we've seen with Antonio Felix da Costa this year is obviously not the same that we saw during his championship season. But looking at all of the parity and the Formula E Wheel of Destiny, I certainly think it's possible that Antonio Felix da Costa could certainly repeat as a Formula E world champion.
Of course, it's something that has. I'm sorry, I see Joe's over there. I know it's something that's been done before. His own teammate, John Verne, has repeated the championship. So it's not out of the realms. DS Cheetah have won the previous 3 championships for the drivers. But it seems to be a feeling of change this year. It's the first world championship that Formula E's had where it's been credited as a world championship. There's a lot more tension in the air. There's a lot more do well, you will receive goods at the end of it. So I think Da Costa has a chance, but I'm sticking with my guns. It's going to be the battle up front. Actually, watch out for De Vries. He's up there. He knows what it's like to come late, as he did in the Formula 2 championship sort of around mid-season back in 2017 or 18. He can really fight back. De Vries is quick as well.
Yeah, De Vries, he is quick. I know he was my pick winner for today's race, second place. But yeah, he is coming on really fast. And of course, we all know a win in Formula E is 25 points for the win. 1 point if you get that fastest lap. And then in qualifying, you have 3 points for Superpole, 1 point for a fastest lap. So in total, there are 30 points maximum available per race. 3 races left, so that means 90 points on the line. So mathematically, all 24 drivers are tomorrow eligible, since the leader only has 81 points, just because of the insane amount of competitiveness we've seen throughout the entire season. If Sam Bird was to score all 30 points, still at least the top 10 will be eligible, and essentially anybody below 52, 51 points will look at being eliminated from championship contention. We've been talking a little bit about Group 3 and 4. Josh, when it comes to Group 3 and 4, do you see drivers in that group having the upper hand tomorrow entering the race?
They've got the maximum track time for evolution in terms of grip. I mean, we didn't really see it today because the rain affected and gave them the advantage of a drying track. But as you pointed out earlier on, the infield section as well, underneath the XL Center, it's got a special type of tarmac on it, which really is super grippy as well. And really, it's like a really tough chewing gum. It sticks to the tires a lot, so that's going to be really interesting to see. So they're going to have the top end grip for that. So I think even Sam Bird said it earlier on in qualifying. This qualifying format, he thinks, and several of the drivers think, it's very unfair because you're going out first, you get a dirty track, and then it cleans up for qualifying 3 and qualifying 4. So to answer your question very long-windedly, I've gone around that, but yeah, they're going to have an advantage tomorrow. If it rains, they'll leave even more of an advantage like we saw today. Group 3 and 4, always the best ones to be in. And it's a shame that it's the ones further down in the back of the championship that get it.
Yeah, when it comes to the group, I know it's going to be really interesting to see what's going to happen tomorrow with group qualifying and everything going on now. On the bubble tomorrow, Alex Lynn with 52 points, Max Gunther with 54 points entering the race, and of course, Stoffel Van Dorn, 58 points. They will all be in Group 3 qualifying. Now, Stoffel earlier, he looked very much a championship contender. Tomorrow, he needs a really good race, or again, needs everyone in the top 10 to score little to no points. Are you surprised with how Stoffel's season has gone so far this season?
Yeah, I am actually, because Van Dorn was very much the runner-up last year, wasn't he, with Antonio Felix da Costa. We were all thinking, oh, this could be quite interesting. With Van Dorn, when he came back for those 6 races in 9 days, he was quite up there. And even when, as you said, coming into this year as well, victory in the second race in Rome, victory back in New York City, he seemed to be fluctuating there or thereabouts. Had a podium in Valencia, and then had a really silly amount of DNFs. I'm looking at my monitor. I've got my driver tracker here for the Drivers' Championship with little crosses out. And he's got one of the most crosses of anyone. Retired Rome Race 1, that famous crash with Sam Bird. Valencia ran out of energy. Monaco crashed out as well. New York, the first race, was out of it as well. It's a really bizarre situation. Of course, I've just realised that Van Dorn's only won 1 race back in Rome. The second one was Gunther, so apologies for that. But yeah, Van Dorn, I'm shocked. Considering how well De Vries is doing, I think Van Dorn has shocked me and disappointed me this year. And if I was Mercedes, if I was thinking about changing over, I'm going to surprise you here, don't. Every driver has a bad season. Van Dorn has proved his worth at Mercedes. He's proved he can do it. De Vries is just on another level. And I think Van Dorn has accepted that this year could be his number 2 fate. And I am surprised and saddened for the Belgian waffle, as they call him over there. He still gets all the fan boost votes, though. Every single race. He's the only driver with 100% fan boost voting.
Yes, Carl, I have to agree with you, Josh. Stoffel Van Dorn hasn't had a really good season this year, and I'm very surprised. He had a really good year last year, and he's had a lot of retirements. That's not like him. But like you said, everybody has a bad year in motorsports. It doesn't matter what series that you're talking about. So if he had a top 10 finish today in race 1 in London, hopefully that gives him some momentum going into race 2 tomorrow and the rest of the season. I believe he will come back in the Formula E Series next year. And could he be a contender for the championship? Sure, but we won't know that until the start of the 2022 Formula E season next year.
When it comes to next year, that Formula E season, I think everybody's going to be really curious how everything lines up, and especially with Stoffel Van Dorn, I think y'all bring up some great points, and especially Mercedes. It seems like Nick De Vries today really showing that magic he displayed earlier this year. Now, Group 2, these drivers are essentially 1 win away from reclaiming that points lead, and they have some of the big heavy hitters. We have Pascal Wehrlein, Mitch Evans, Lucas Di Grassi, and his teammate Rene Rast, plus Nick Cassidy's in there. Now, Rast and Di Grassi, both of them with Audi this year, and because we all know Audi is leaving Formula E. Do you see either of the Audi drivers contending for the championship after tomorrow's race?
Well, Rene Rast today got the fastest lap in the top 10. I mean, it was Evans overall, 122.340. Rast got it and got the fastest lap bonus point, 122.539. I was talking in commentary to Edward Hunter as well, and it's always a running gag at the moment that whenever we see Rast on screen, he's always missing part of his front wing as well. The driver wheel cover seems to be missing as well. And Rast is an aggressive driver, but he's a fast driver. And I think that is what is really helping Audi get up there. Remember, they had a 1-2 back in Puebla a couple of weeks ago as well, with the Mexico race. They're up there as well. I mean, look at the Drivers' Championship. They're coming in. They were fourth at the moment. They're now going to go up there even further because they had a great result today. Where is he on the board? From looking, Rast was fifth, Degrassi sixth, and they changed them over actually. And I've got back to my point now. Me and Edward Hunter were talking, and they moved Rast ahead of Degrassi for the championship. There's a team order call into turn one, and Rast went ahead of Degrassi. So yes, they are thinking about the title. Yes, they're not going to go after the drivers, I don't think. They are eyes focused on, as I hit my mic for it, their eyes focused on getting that constructors title, because when Audi walk away, they want to walk away as champions, just like as they did in World Endurance Championship.
I have to agree with you again, Josh. I believe Audi is not in contention for the driver championship and the constructor championship. Audi's going to go all out tomorrow and in Berlin. Don't be surprised if you see those. I wouldn't be surprised if you see one of the two Audi drivers win either tomorrow or in Berlin, because they want to go out on a high. They want to go out and say, hey, even though we're leaving Formula E, it has been an honor to see the Audis compete, and Rene Rast is a very good driver. I have a lot of respect for him.
Just diving back in on the Berlin comment you made there. Yes, absolutely. I think one of the drivers are going to win in Berlin, and my money is on Lucas Degrassi because, and I'll tell you, it'll be the last race as well, round 15. Audi would want to go out in style, and they want their number one driver there. I think it'll be Degrassi winning in Berlin, and it'll be a 1-2, and they'll just go all out. They've got nothing to lose, Audi, and even without Schaffler not looking like they're going to stay in the championship, for their last race for an original team as well, they are definitely going to go all out.
Going all out, and definitely some of the comments from the chat room. Edward Hunter, who because I know Josh, you worked with earlier today, De Vries was very impressive today, unlucky for both Nissan drivers after they got disqualified. So that is some late-breaking news here. Now, of course, we've been displaying Nick Cassidy was shown at 13th place. We know he has received a penalty. So, of course, the unofficial results continue to prove why they're unofficial as changes are developing.
Yeah, Ed's definitely on the ball with that one. I've just got the email in as well, and it's an energy use. It's an energy used over the regulatory limit, and it's a breach of Article 7.6 of the regulations. Disqualified from the race is the only call that both of the Nissans can have, and the reason given: the total energy used was over the maximum 47 kilowatts. As decided by the race director. Now, that's interesting because coming into this race, the original kilowatt of energy, I think it was at 52, was reduced to 48 for this event because they were so worried that because it's such a tight circuit that they'll just fly around the track, no energy saving at all, because it's so difficult to overtake. So they decided a couple of weeks ago they were going to reduce the energy for this weekend. They extended up the fan boost and attack modes power as well, just to give them an extra kick to overtake. And it looks like Nissan have got caught out for it. And it caught everyone out, actually, because Dennis crossed the line exactly on 0.0%. So it's a look of the draw. But many people are going to leave from this saying, oh, it's another Valencia. The FIA are playing with the regulations again. They're giving and taking energy away. Yeah, it is. It's going to be bitter. But Nissan had that problem as well back in Valencia.
And now it's time for our annual Pick a Winner segment. And the only race that we're doing this week is the race 2 of the Formula E Series in London. And as we take a look at the leaderboard, Joe is first with 21. Kobe and I are tied in second with 20. Matt White is in fourth, and Ben Schneider is fifth with 13. So, Josh, I'm going to start with you. Who takes the checkered flag in tomorrow's race 2 in London at the Formula E London E-Prix?
Well, if I can get my name on the board before, as I told you before we came on here, me and Edward Hunter did actually talk about the fact that we predicted that it would be Jake Dennis taking the win. So I'm going to count that as a little moral victory. Race 2, all out, different day, lot of action to be looking forward to. I'm going to put my neck on the line and say it's going to be Eduardo Mortara who will win tomorrow, because I think he had the most to look forward to in that previous race as well. He was qualifying okay. I mean, he was 16th on the grid, but that's only because he got stuck in the first group of qualifying. If it's dry tomorrow, he's going to be quite quick. So, yeah, I'm going Eduardo Mortara to win race 2.
And I'm gonna go with the Mercedes driver to do one position better. I think Nick de Vries is gonna get it done in race 2 in the London E-Prix.
For me, I'm going to go with, I know he didn't win today, but yes, I'm going to stick with my race 1 pick. I'm going to say Sam Bird wins race 2 and leads London as the points leader.
I think we're all seeing a pattern. I'm going to go with Rene Rast at Audi, and especially he's going to be not in Group 1. I think he could lay down a fast lap for the pole and get the win.
And even though NASCAR, IndyCar, and a lot of other racing series aren't racing this weekend, please go out and support your local short tracks across the United States. They always have really good racing each and every Friday night and Saturday night. And visit us on TikTok as well.
And also be sure to check out the ARCA Menard Series racing tonight at Iowa Speedway. I know I'll be covering that race. You can follow me on Twitter for updates at Kobe Lambeth on Twitter. It should definitely be an exciting racing for the ARCA Menard Series, and you can be sure to catch that at 9 p.m. Eastern Time on MAV TV or Track Pass if you have the NBC Sports app. The Great World Motorsport League. We only have 5 events this weekend, 11 races going on, and looking at some of the top 10, we have Nico Malini leading the Great World Motorsport League, and Shane Van Gisbergen on a dominant season in supercars in second, and Max Verstappen, who unfortunately crashed out in style at the British Grand Prix in third. And just looking at the entire top 10, this is really crazy to see Lewis Hamilton so far down on the list, because he's usually towards the top, and it's going to be interesting over the next few races to see if Lewis Hamilton can improve his score and get a little bit closer to the top of the grid. And the World Motorsport League, this year, has seen 7 different winners this year, and this is Nico Malini's second stint as the Great World Motorsport League points leader. We also have Alice Powell, as you can see, as you saw in the graphic, from the W Series in the top 10, and she's the first female racer to make it into the top 10. We've seen Formula 2 and other feeder series in the top 10, and here's the question. How significant is it to see the W Series, and how do you anticipate the rest of Alice Powell's season to go from here?
Well, for me, Alice Powell is a really good success story in the W Series. There's so many great young ladies competing in that. I have a lot of respect for all of them, and I wish there were more females competing in motorsports across the world. It's sad to see, but Alice Powell right now looks like is the dominant lady in the W Series, and when they go to Hungary, it should be very interesting to see who leaves the Hungarian with the points lead.
Absolutely agree with you there, Adam, as well, because if you told me a couple of years ago that Alice Powell would be leading the championship in the W Series and would be one of the top female racers, not only in the country but in the world, I would have been a bit surprised. But she has just come out of the blocks this year. Absolutely fantastic. I'm so enjoying commentating on her races as well. Oh, something's flying back in my ear. But yeah, I'm so enjoying commentating on her races. I'm loving seeing it. And yeah, Alice Powell for sure. Definitely brilliantly in the top 10. And I think she has the opportunity to win the W Series and keep it in the family as well for British winners of the W Series. But don't count out Fabian Volverend. We found that out last time out at Silverstone. But yeah, Alice to win the series.
Yes, it's certainly really cool to see the W Series in the top 10 of the Group 1 Motorsport League for the very first time. And to be honest, I'm a little surprised by Alice Powell's form this year. I knew she would be good, but I didn't know that she would be this good. Honestly, I thought it would be the Jamie Chadwick show once again in the W Series, but Alice Powell definitely going to make it tough for Jamie Chadwick to go back in this year's championship. It's going to be really exciting to see how the championship battle shapes up in the 2021 W Series season. And in the top 10 for the first time this year, Phil Hansen, the defending Grid World Motorsport League champion. Phil currently races in the FIA World Endurance Championship and has United Autosports in their LMP2 car, but he's currently winless in the European Le Mans Series. Does Phil Hansen need to rack up wins in order to have a chance of defending his Grid World Motorsport League championship?
He definitely needs to win in the remaining races. One of the big things for Phil Hansen, he got to get around somehow Shane Van Gisbergen, who is just dominant and racking wins. Now, of course, with the World Motorsport League, it goes by percentage. So he has fewer races, but that means he needs to win a lot more of the remaining races, whereas Shane Van Gisbergen can go the rest of the season without wins, which I think a lot of us are not anticipating that to happen. But if he was to have that happen, that'll bring Phil Hansen in the picture. So Phil Hansen, definitely if you could get more wins, and I think with the tracks he got coming up, plus some of the big races in sports car, I think that team, United Autosports, is looking really good to rack up more wins.
Really enjoyed seeing United Autosports at the Le Mans 24 Hour, which is coming up as well. And they always go well there as well. They've been lucky in some years, unlucky in others. And when I say unlucky, it's usually in a big accident. So definitely he's got a chance if he can get a win. I would put him as a Le Mans winner as well. So keep your fingers crossed. But it's the luck of the racing gods, as David Coulthard would put it as well. Sometimes drivers get in a rut. It's very hard to get out of. The best way I found of getting out of ruts of winning races or just doing normal things is, well, try and change your approach to it. Change your mentality and find something different about it. Find something you love and focus on it. And hopefully, United Autosports, the team will be around him as well. So yeah, I think he'll get a couple of wins before this season's out.
And I think looking at the season we saw last year, Autosports 2020, although it was, obviously a terrible year for most people around the world, but for United Autosports, it was really a dream season. They pretty much went out there between the World Endurance Championship and the European Le Mans Series. They basically won everything that you can possibly win in those series, and it was such a strong performance from the entire team, and I think that's why we saw Phil Hansen take that championship. And this year, I think Phil Hansen, United Autosports, have kind of come back to earth a little bit, and I do think that Phil's definitely going to have to pick up some more victories if he wants to have a chance at defending his Grid World Motorsport League crown. And you can be sure to follow the Grid World Motorsport League on Twitter at grid_WML and visit gridranking.com to see the past World Motorsport League championships every Monday. The standings are updated on Twitter. Be sure to follow it tomorrow on Grid Live Sunday Wrap Up. We'll have an updated grid ranking.
And with that update grid ranking tomorrow, of course, tomorrow Grid Live Wrap Up will be at a special time. We'll post more information on our social media so you can follow all the action as it occurs. And of course, we encourage everyone, be sure to subscribe to us right here on YouTube. Definitely want to thank all our new subscribers this week and best in the grid network. Colin, Mark DeShell, thank you so much for investing in us, allowing us to continue expanding our coverage and our reach on YouTube, social media, and definitely grow as an organization. And of course, if you have a dog that you care about, Publis, 10% discount for Grid Network viewers, link in the video description as well. So be sure to check that out. Get your furry buddy some good things, whether it's dog leashes, clothing, and accessories. Definitely a good cause that we all support, because right here in the office of the Grid Network, we have our office dog, Kiska, as well. And that'll do for today's show. For Joshua, Adam, and Kobe Lambert from the Podium Finish, I'm Joe Samaniego. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time, and enjoy the races tomorrow. Joe Samaniego here, wanted to invite you to go check out Poblis. Poblis is a dog clothing and accessory company based in Austria. 10% of each of your purchases goes to helping dogs in need, whether it's homeless, sick, or ill dogs. This is one of the reasons why we support it. Kiska here is a rescue dog from rural Alaska and our grid office dog. We care about our furry buddies, and we know you do as well. Definitely check out poblis.com. There's a link on the video description, and by clicking on that link, you get a 10% discount on your purchase as well.